All right. So before we start this, let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. Just something that's conducive for you to be able to concentrate and go inside for a little bit. You can have both feet flat on the floor, about a hips width apart, shoulders aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is this is a beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. Just lengthen your spine. Now go to the crown of the head and relax your scalp and forehead and eyes, your eyebrows, even your eyelashes, if you can imagine that. And imagine relaxing the ocular nerve, the back of the eye, the nose, the cheeks. Imagine relaxing your teeth, your lips, back of the tongue, the jaw, the temples, the ear, the inner ear, the back of the head, the neck. And allow your shoulders and shoulder blades to drop down. Relax the throat. Imagine your throat is opening. Imagine your chest is relaxing and opening. And relax your belly and your limbs. Your hands can be just resting in your lap wherever it is comfortable for you. Or you could put them in the traditional mudra, hand mudra for meditation in this particular tradition, which is the right hand nestled in the left with your thumbs touching. Notice the breath sensations. You might notice the inhalation and exhalation of the breath through the nostrils, the belly, rising and falling of the belly. And also pay a little bit of attention to this 360-degree body we have. This around your thoracic region, you'll notice the ribs are expanding, contracting. So imagine you can feel the ribs expanding at the back as well as the side, the front. But very often I think we're all breathing in our chest. It's a little bit more than that. So imagine you're filling your whole lung. And be aware of the sounds in your environment. So for Mary, she's had emergency vehicles in her street all night. So that's a different sound than usual. It puts everybody in her street, in her neighborhood on alert. Then worry, then. So notice how your external environment impacts you. So just allow those sounds to be there. Try not to run off and investigate. I don't know if any of you ever watched a program in the 60s and 70s called Bewitched, but there was a neighbor called Mrs. Craddock. She was always peeking out from behind the curtain. So don't let your mind be a Mrs. Craddock for yourself. You can stay in your own lane. Yes, we even had that in Australia. I loved it. It was my favorite program. Okay, so now just notice what's going on in your mind, what's arising in the mind, and try and put some space in between those thoughts. Trying not to criticize. Just be curious about what's there. And notice where the mind travels off to. And be curious about that as well. Because it'll wander off during the meditation. So remembering all your friends, the ones you don't like, the strangers, remembering these relationships are interchangeable. It's really good to reflect on this every day, I think. The change is an inevitable part of our life. And then all people, everybody out there is the same as you and me. They all want to be happy. They don't want to suffer, and they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we'll do this blessing the speech and body of light meditation this morning for the benefit of all these people of our life, and by extension, all sentient beings. And keep in mind Mary's neighbors, because this is a life disaster that's going to affect these people for many years to come. So we start here, blessing the speech, according to the instructions of the great yogi Kyungpo. I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So here the visualization, the text says, purify the truly existent I in emptiness, then your wisdom realizing emptiness, which is non-dual with great bliss, manifests as a deity. And then it says, I clarify myself as a deity. So this sounds all very lofty. And if you haven't had an initiation of any kind in this particular tradition, you will have no idea what that's about. And even if you have, and you don't really know what you're doing, that's okay too. None of us really do. But so here's a very sweet way of doing that particular practice. So we've done this meditation before. So imagine on the crown of your head is this beautiful ball of white light, about a little bit smaller than the size of your head, about 2 inches above the crown. And this ball of light is translucent, radiant, brilliant. It's made of light and it's radiating light. And you may not be able to see that in your mind's eye. Not everyone is a visualizer. But it's just enough to know it's there, just to feel its presence. And this ball of light contains all the enlightened energy, the wisdom, compassion, kindness, bliss of all the holy beings, all the Buddhas, all the Bodhisattvas, all the enlightened beings in the universes. Imagine all that energy is contained in this ball of light, just above the crown of your head. Now imagine this ball of light starts to descend. And it becomes, as it does, it becomes smaller and smaller. It shrinks right down till it's about the size of about 1 inch in diameter. And then it just sort of dissolves into you through the crown of your head. It descends into you until it comes to your heart chakra. And this little tiny ball of light, this containing all this enlightened energy, starts to expand once more. And as it does, all the solid parts of your body dissolve into light. Your organs, your bones, muscles, tendons, ligaments, all the body, all the, the blood, all the fluids in the body, the blood vessels, the skin, all the hair, all dissolves into blissful, radiant, white light. Imagine your fingernails becoming light. The little hairs inside your ears become light. All the fascia in the body, light. So we'll just meditate as on our body being its body of light for about a minute. And if in this process any distracting thought or sound, or maybe even smell, arises or comes to your consciousness, allow it to dissolve into light. Imagine it dissolving into light. So now, if you wish, you can remain with your eyes closed, or you can open and look at the text. You can do one of the either. So now, on your tongue, imagine a syllable ah standing upright. So it can be an ah. You don't have to necessarily imagine the Tibetan. And this ah, this syllable ah, transforms into a moon, and that moon's got kind of flat on the tongue. And on top of it appears a white syllable om standing upright. And you can imagine these, it's surrounded, and they say in the text, encircled by the white Sanskrit vowels standing clockwise, the red Sanskrit consonants standing counterclockwise. So you can just imagine color at this point, because I don't know that anybody has the individual consonants and vowels in their mind, and we'll come to those in a minute. And the blue heart mantra of dependent relation standing clockwise. So just imagine you've got this white, this red, this blue on your tongue on top of this moon. So imagine light beams radiate from the syllable Om, which is standing upright on the tongue, and the mantra garlands. So imagine you've got all this light radiating out from your tongue. And it kind of radiates out and it hooks the blessings and power of the speech of those beyond and not beyond the world in the form of the 3 mantras, the 7 sublime precious objects of a king's reign, the 8 auspicious signs, and the 8 auspicious substances. So it explains here who those are beyond the world are: the Buddhas, the Arya Bodhisattvas abiding in the 3 pure bhumis, and Arhats. Those who are not beyond the world are the yogis who are accomplishing the path, and the sages who have actualized the words of truth. And due to the power of abiding in silence and living in the morality of abstaining from negative karmas of speech, the words of these sages have much power. And so whatever they pray for is successful. All their blessings and power of speech are hooked back in the form of these 3 mantras, 7 precious objects of a king's reign, and the 8 auspicious signs, and the 8 auspicious substances, filling the whole sky. And they absorb into the mantras on the moon disk on your tongue, like rain falling on the ocean. So, you've just hooked back a whole lot of extra power of speech. So this is now sitting on your tongue. So now we come to the mantras for blessing the speech, and we start with the Sanskrit vowels, Ali. So in the front of this text, which is the latest FPMT prayer book, I think, is a correct pronunciation. So I'll do the best I can. And we have the common pronunciation here. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? And you imagine. Om, a, I, u, ri, li, e, o, ang, swaha. Om, a, I, u, ri, li, e, o, ang, swaha. So I forgot to add this. As you recite the vowels, imagine white nectar beams flow down from the mantra and fill your whole body. And all the negative karmas collected with your body from beginningless rebirths are completely purified. And we'll recite it one more time. Om, a, I, u, ri, li, e, o, ang, swaha. So they were the white ones. And now we come to the Sanskrit consonants, Kali. And as you recite these consonants, imagine now red nectar beams flowing down from the mantra and fill your whole body. And imagine all your negative karmas collected with your speech from beginningless rebirths are completely purified. So my suggestion is the common pronunciation. It's a lot easier. Om ka nya. Sat ya na. Ta na. Ta na. Pa ma. Yara lava shaka sa ha kya swaha. Om ka nya. Sat ya na. Ta na. Ta na. Pa ma. Yara lawa shaka sa ha kya swaha. Om ka nya. Sat ya na. Ta na. Ta na. Pa ma. Yara lawa shaka sa ha kya swaha. And then we come to the heart mantra of dependent relation. So now as you recite this mantra, blue nectar beams flow down from the mantra and fill your whole body. and all your negative karmas collected with your mind from beginningless rebirths are completely purified. So some of you may know this mantra. Om ye Dhamma hetu prabhava hetun tekan tatagato hayavada tekan sayo nirada evam vadi maha shramanai svaha. Om ye Dhamma hetu prabhava hetun tekan tatagato hayavada tekan sayo nirada evam vadi maha shramanai svaha. Om ye Dhamma hetu prabhava hetu tekan tatagato hayavada tekan sayo Nirada Emvadi Maha Shramane Svaha. So now, absorption of the mantras. So imagine the heart mantra of dependent relation, the blue one, absorbs into the consonants. So that's what I think of them. And then the consonants into the vowels, the red ones, and into the syllable om. So the consonants are the red ones, into the vowels, the white ones, and the vowels, so they've all kind of merged in together, and then the vowels into the syllable om, and the om into the moon cushion. And that transforms into the syllable ah. And the ah melts into pink nectar. So imagine this now, and that absorbs into your tongue, which becomes the nature of a vajra. Your tongue becomes very heavy and strong, as if difficult to move, and as indestructible as a vajra. So generate strong faith that all the blessings and power of the speech of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Arhats, yogis, and sages have entered your speech and made it perfect. And think, my speech has become perfect. So imagine now, let's just meditate for a little bit on this pink nectar that's absorbed into your tongue. And your tongue is the nature of a vajra, strong. And really imagine this idea of all the Buddhas, the holy beings, the power of these beings. Their speech has entered your tongue. Your speech has become perfect. Think, my speech has become perfect. Just notice if your mind has traveled. Well, it's always good to think a little bit about the benefits of some of the practices we do. So somebody's very kindly added this in. The benefits of blessing the speech are: one, the power of your speech becomes perfect. Two, whatever you recite is multiplied 10 million times. So if you do this little practice, and actually it doesn't take half an hour, which we've done today, you can do it in maybe 5 minutes. Um, but say even if you recite Om Mani Padme Hum, it's multiplied 10 million times. The power of your speech is not taken away by eating wrong foods. I'm assuming this is specific to when in this tradition we take what's called precepts. So there's certain foods you're not supposed to eat on those days, like onions, things like meat and things like that. And gossiping becomes a recitation of mantra. I really love that. Anyway, so let's just dedicate. May my tongue sense base have all the courage of the ones gone to bliss by the magnificence and power of my words. May all sentient beings be subdued. May all the meanings of whatever words I say be accomplished. Okay, there you go. So it's a sweet little practice I thought I'd introduce you to. All right. Lots of love, everybody. Mary, thank you so much for hosting. I hope all is well in your neighborhood. And oh, just wait a second. Don Hendricks teaching on Saturday, 10 to 3:30, how to live an ethical life. And oh, but I'm seeing a friend in these. Oh, this is from a friend. Oh, Annie Lama, do you want to just read that out? Why don't you read it? You're muted. You're still muted.
Now try unmuting.
There you go. Or I can read it if it's getting complicated. Let me read it. Okay. Um, in these degenerate times when the minds of humans are like threads which are so hopelessly knotted that even highly realized beings cannot disentangle them, out of his great compassion, Buddha Shakyamuni consented to appear among them in order to lead them out of their blindness. The quote is from Khenpo Koncho Gyaltsen's The Great Kagyu Masters translated from a text called The Golden Lineage Treasury by Dorje Tse Od, possibly 13th century. Okay, just a little bit of wisdom for everybody to take off in their morning. Take your beautiful pink tongues with you and speak well. Okay. Lots of love, everybody. And I will see you all this evening. Thanks, Mary. Bye. Bye-bye.